basically ended up staying here. And like the waves are going to be good after the contest. Instead of taking the flight back with the other people on his team he was surfing for Lost at the time. He's like, I'm just going to stay. Got some really good waves, and I ended up literally staying for like 2 years. Never left. Like a guy from California that's surfing Huntington Beach. This is like, I'm just going to stay here and surf. So like I literally, he lived with a couple other guys who bounced around through different couches, and I was like shooting with him all the time. I think Carlson, if you look at his style and then translate it into the couple guys that really came up, Scuden, Balaram, Killarney, TJ Gamella, like go on and on, all those guys look a little bit like him. Like Carlson's definitely like just got this crazy, like super double jointed and everything, to do these nuts things, but they all surf a little bit like him and approach the waves like him. So I feel like all those guys were like ready for that person to like look up and to see what I could do. And then Carlson comes through and is doing airs, and no one did airs around here. And then all those guys, all of a sudden, a couple of years later, now they're all trying airs, they're all landing airs, and then, fast forward today, and they're all like, every single one of them is gnarlier than the next. So it was kind of great, and all that kind of like happened at the shop and through the shop. And then I was able to capitalize on it, because now I got this, somewhat pro surfer and Carlson. I got this like ups and feet down in Balaram, and I got Scuden, one of the gnarliest big wave surfers in the world. Killarney, who was an unbelievable surfer, that underground surfer that a lot of people might not know. TJ, who's unreal as well. All these kids hanging out the shop. So every swell, it's like I got all the best surfers kind of like to shoot, and it's nice. And that happened probably because of the shop.
So how often? I mean, listen, you've got the demands of being kind of like this like cultivator of talent. You've got the demands of the shop. You've got the demands of a family. And listen, you get to the point. I know I'm at that point in my life where you need to make choices, and sometimes you have to prioritize and stuff. And I know for me as an artist, like I feel like my artistic practice is more dialed in, although it might be less than I'd like it to be. You're more efficient when you get that opportunity. So, in saying that, how often are you getting out there to shoot? Do you shoot as much as you used to? Do you shoot less? Do you shoot more? How do you select? What's your creative process like right now in comparison to when you were honing your craft in your early 20s? It's exactly like, and I guess the younger guys might not know this or get this, but it's exactly like the old guys on the boardwalk. Like when you're younger, you froth over 1 foot anything. I just need to, so I would shoot anything all the time. Now I'm like that old guy on the boardwalk that I'm like, it's only 6 foot. I'm going to wait kind of thing. So no, long story short, definitely a little bit more picky now, but I kind of know what I want. I know what I want to get, and I feel like I understand the waves around here enough and my own abilities to like know when I am or am not going to get the shot that I want to get. So, right. So definitely I do not shoot as much as I used to. I would love to shoot more, but unfortunately the waves around here are, not always the best. And I know there's opportunities. You got guys like Matt Clark shoots a lot of small stuff, and the guy puts out the most unbelievable images you will ever see. It's insane. And I've tried that a few times. I can't do that. So good on him. Epic fails on trying to replicate what he does. But I don't know, my whole thing is like, what really drives me is like, I want to get pictures of my friends in giant tubes. Like that's kind of like literally what drives my surf photography for the last few years and now. Like I'm definitely going to drop before I like retire, quote unquote. I am going to drop hopefully one of the biggest, tube photos ever, so I'm working on it, scheming on it, and hopefully that will happen.
Next week, you might have an opportunity.
That's it. And long at New York tube shot too. That's my goal.
Well, let me ask you this: would you rather spend more time in the water or in the dunes making your work? Because I've seen you do both. What do you prefer?
I can't stand standing on the beach. It's like if I'm not in the water, then it's definitely 1000% in the water. To me, it's standing on the beach. It's just like, honestly, I'm disconnected. For me, I guess it just comes from, I used to surf a lot. I used to probably do 50-50. And now I'm definitely more like probably 75-25. Like I still surf a bit, but like I feel as long as if I'm in the water shooting, mixing it up, then I feel like I feel like I surfed. So
right,
for me, it's kind of nice. And then I have the challenge of trying to I feel it's a little bit harder to even get a good photo than to get a good wave. So it's always, at least I still have that desire to kind of get that good one. And yeah, that's totally what drives me. Just swimming above anything else. Is awesome. And I will do it religiously until I cannot do it anymore.
Right.
Near-death experience that'll back off a little.
Yeah, but to share that experience with your buddy who's on that wave is great too. You're even just paddling out and watching your buddy really get one. Yeah. I don't know. I draw for my friends all the time. It's amazing.
It's the best.
Yeah. So to be able to capture that for them is amazing.
Yep, I'm definitely stoked when someone gets a good wave and then I actually get the photo and it's in focus and it's on the right spot, and it's definitely very, very, very rewarding.
There's a lot of current up in Lido and Long Beach when it's usually I don't think I've ever surfed it when it's not moving around a lot when it's good. How do you deal with that? It's so demanding.
Yeah, it's honestly it's it's tough sometimes, but I feel like I was a little bit of a swimmer way back in high school and pre-high school days, so I'm kind of it's always been in my blood. But I'm definitely my mother's always you were a water baby and you still are. So it's something that I really really enjoy, but it's definitely hard sometimes. Yeah, and for me personally, I feel like it's sometimes when you have those days where it's really ripping current. Especially Jersey is a lot of days on those when the rights are really good, those South Swell days, current's ripping. But you look down the beach and you see someone just get a nuts tube, and I just go into this weird, I don't want to call it an animal mode, but I'm just I'm gonna keep kicking until I get to where I want to be, and I'm not stopping unless I have a heart attack. It's and I just go, and sometimes I get there, sometimes I don't. But it's just. I don't feel like I have this crazy swimming talent. I feel like I just, sometimes when I'm out there, I just want to get to a certain spot really, really bad. And I just go for it.
What kind of gear are you shooting with right now? I mean, because we alluded to in the beginning, you were using throwaway cameras that you buy at CVS, and now you've evolved and you've had a career, and you've said that you like to swim rather than stand on the beach. So what kind of setup are you shooting with right now?
Yeah, well, I've upgraded slightly since the throwaway camera, I could say. I guess my water setup right now is it's a Canon 1DX2, and then depends on the lens. I have a bunch of different lenses. Typically either a 17 mil or a 50 mil, depending on the waves. Salty surf housing. And, I just kind of get out there and swim. The one thing, it's a gigantic setup, and I really should downsize a little bit because now there are a lot better choices for, it'll be a lot lighter in the water, but,
Does it have a neutral buoyancy, or does it have a little bit of float to it?
It's neutrally buoyant. So it's not bad when it's in the water, but when you got to hold it up above the water, it's definitely a little bit. And then when you got to swim, it's just the surface area of it is so big that it would definitely be better if I were shooting with something a little smaller.
Yeah.
I've been thinking
you just
about
act
that.
like an otter and put it on your chest and kick, or?
Yeah, it has a couple grips on it, so it depends on what situation I'm stuck with or stuck in, and I'll just just grab it in a different way, and but it's big, it's aluminum, so kind of I hit in the head a couple times with it, and
oh man,
yeah, it's what it is. So, but definitely it would be nice to have a little bit smaller one. I kind of was into trying to do some follow stuff, that guy in France, I can't remember his name, but does that insane stuff, will surf behind people a real housing. And I kind of thought about doing that with mine, tried it a couple times with mine. It's so big, it's just way too dangerous with mine.
Yeah. My buddy Matt shoots with a red camera now, like moving image stuff, and he swims out with that. I think it's insane.
It is crazy. I've swam with a red a couple times, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
You got it two-handed too the whole time, which is I'm not used to. I can, like, with my setup, I can actually just let go. I can only use one hand if I need to, certain times. So
I don't know how you guys do it, because like I mean I'm, you know, I have a background as a collegiate swimmer, and like I'm all upper body, and I'm like, I need my arms. I don't know how you could like hang on to a camera and not use your arms and swim in those currents, man. It's freaking crazy.
yeah, it's just I use that. It's just that one like side stroke or whatever. It's my go-to, but you know, it's just legs. It just burned my legs out a lot of times, and that's sometimes when I swim for. It's really good if I swim for a long period of time. I think I'm like, I'm going to swim for a little bit, then I'm going to get out. I'm going to go surf. By the time I get out, I'm like, I realize that there's no chance in hell I'll be able to stand up on a board after swimming for 4 hours, you know?
So what are your favorite, I'm taking notes here. What are your favorite fins?
I'm a defin guy.
Okay.
Defin, D-A-F-I-N.
Yeah, I know it.
Lighter, and definitely they're awesome compared to some of the other stuff that I've used anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been able to do it. I just have like such big flat feet that those are my flippers. I can't wear fins. I can't do it.
It's a must when it's like that, though. If you got current and you just want to motivate, you know, motor around a little bit, you definitely gotta strap those on for sure.
Right. So, you know, something that's interesting to me, and I don't think many people know it about you, is that you've kind of like, you know, taken all your surfing experience, your photography experience, and you've kind of like moved it into a new place now. And you were telling me about, you were shooting interiors, you were doing architecture, real estate. What do you do working on now, like on the side?
Yeah, so basically that's become like my, I guess, quote unquote side job. So the photography, so everybody knows that it's, you know, pretty much common knowledge now that the whole surf industry, you know, especially the media, has changed over the past 5-6 years. It's really drastic changes. There's really no magazines anymore. There's a couple of websites, but there's not a lot of opportunity to sell photos anymore.
Wow.
And not that that was like a huge part of my income or like my drive selling stuff, but it was nice every once in a while to, like, you know, take some photos and then get a little, you know, get a check, and it kind of just helped, you know, fuel the habit or the you know, and kept me going with it.
Right.
So yeah, so basically now I don't want to say I've transitioned, but I've just I've been shooting for almost, I guess, about 20 years now. And probably for the first 10, 12, 13, 14, whatever, it's like, I was like, I'm a surf photographer, and that's all I take pictures of. And literally my wife would yell at me all the time, be like, yeah, I don't have any pictures of the kids, I don't this, that. Like, literally I would take pictures of surfing and nothing else. And then, you know, a few years back, definitely started, you know, more than a few now, but, you know, not too long ago, started doing some other stuff, a couple weddings here and there. I did some other sports. And then, you know, definitely get into the whole real estate, architecture, that kind of thing, you know, over the last maybe 3 or 4 years. It's been really good. It's actually real money, I guess you would say, as opposed to the whole surf photography thing. And it's kind of rewarding because I feel like some of the stuff that I've learned, it's shooting one way for that long. You kind of, you know, I don't want to say I wasn't getting creative. Maybe I was getting creative in that field, but shooting other things made me learn new ways to shoot and new lighting conditions and this and that. So I feel like overall I've become a light years better photographer by doing the other stuff, and then kind of transition that back into surf to be able to kind of, like, you know, keep that kind of improving, I guess you would say.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
The industry's changed quite a bit. You know, you used to be able to get like a salary from surfer or someone like that. Like there's guys like Patrick Treads and DJ who used to make a living doing it, and I think it's become harder and harder to do that. Even the younger guys now, like Todd Glazier, like they'll jump on board with Outer Known or just, you know, Trail Kelly exclusively to make ends meet. So it's kind of interesting to see how people are kind of delving into different realms to make it work, whether it be like commercial, you know, product lifestyles. You see a lot of these guys that start off in surfing, they kind of veer into, I don't know, almost like fashion.
Yeah,